And within 2 weeks, everyone was like, Brandon, you know everyone. You're so popular. You're like the connector. My flatmate was like, you're the fucking social machine. I'm like, okay, yeah, I am. You know, he's like, you're Super Mario. You fucking just get mushrooms and you jump so high. I'm like, all right, sounds good. That's me now. Good morning to you. We're out here in beautiful Guatapé at the Entrepreneur's House Business Retreat, where dozens of seven-figure entrepreneurs building the life of their dreams out here in Medellín, Colombia, have gathered to share mindset shifts, strategies that have helped them get to seven figures and beyond. I'm going to be sharing something pretty cool with you. It's my origin story about the challenges I had to overcome to build the multiple successful businesses that I have today. A little bit about myself before I just jump into what I wanted to get around to today, which is your story. I'm a founder of, at this point, close to 7 businesses. I scaled one of them to $7 million a year with a team of almost 100 out in San Francisco Bay in a span of around 4 years. And right now I mentor over 70 other agency owners. I help them double up their team, their revenue, scale up their systems. But you know, enough about myself. I really wanted to make today about you. And I'm sure you guys have all seen the Avengers. I believe we're all heroes and we're all the main characters of our own book. Like, just really I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds of silence. Just reflect back upon all the trials and tribulations, all the challenges that you had to go through, all the shit, the hardships, whether betrayal, heartbreak, whether it's in your own personal life or your business. I've gone through a lot of those myself. As a mentor, I feel like the best person I'm able to help is the person that I was yesterday. I love Elon Musk to death. I dream about Elon Musk. I tell my girlfriend in the morning, I'm like, I just had a dream about Elon again. You know, he was, evaluating this for me and stuff like that. So super cool, but it's very hard to relate to someone like Elon because he's just light years ahead, right? He has multiple billion-dollar companies. It's very hard to relate. But I think it's easy to relate to someone who you're like, wow, I was in your situation yesterday, or I see you as someone I can help because I was literally stuck there last year. And so I do believe if you want to build a 7-figure business and beyond, you have to assemble the Avengers. So I want everyone to actually get up from their seats, look around you. Everyone around you is part of your Avenger tribe in the future. I want to have you, if you don't know the peer around you, introduce yourself, come up with a cool handshake or something. And these potentially are your future Avenger partners. Brendan, nice to meet you. All right, I know you. Yeah. Avengers unite. Let's go. All right.
I'm Tony Stark.
I love it. I'm Pepper Potts. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Yeah, my works. Let's go. All right, let's continue. Avengers unite. Avengers sit down. You can stand up if you want. So, by raise of hands, who here has had to reinvent themselves in their life multiple times over? Still, every day. And so, today my goal is to tell you a little bit about my journey and my growth, and hopefully some lessons along the way. If you can relate to them, maybe we can have just more in common, we can bond over. And if you feel like you can help me overcome my challenges or obstacles, or I can help you overcome yours, let's connect after. Who was I when I was young? I was, I think you might have heard earlier, I was a rebellious kid. I threw a shoe at my dad's face, point blank. I called the police on my dad. My dad called me like the devil's reincarnate, I was not a good kid, but looking back, I really wasn't that bad. My dad was just very, he had his opinions. Anything that went against him was not okay, not cool, you're out, I got kicked out when I stayed at my friend's place. Their parents were like, oh my God, you're so well behaved. What happened between you and your dad? I'm like, I know, I'm such a good kid. Like, what's going on? I was very confused myself. And, I had different stages. I was the funny kid in middle school, always cracking jokes, making everyone laugh. But then when I transitioned to a new high school, I had to reinvent myself once again. And at that point, it was reinventing myself to someone I almost felt like lesser. I was a video gamer. I became a video gamer because I couldn't find my tribe. I was hanging out with all the Asians in Commons 2, which is like where we ate lunch. I was playing ping pong. I was playing video games all day, every day. You know, my sister had to like change the router settings because I wouldn't do my homework. And she's like, you need to do your homework. I'm like, no, I need to pwn these noobs. Anyway, so I was a skinny gamer. Like, I was this tall around the end of high school, and I weighed 130 pounds, 135. Now I weigh a healthy 180, could put on more muscle, but you know, that's another story. And going into college, I was still a gamer, and I had some pretty cool flatmates, suite mates. And I remember like 3 months in, I was gaming with my other roommate at the time, and one of my best friends at this point, Eric, he came into my room, barged in. I was like, bro, just come out. You got to come out, bro. Like, we're playing strip beer pong, and the girls like, we can see their skin, you know, like, like I was just like, I'm good, dude. I'm going to keep playing this game. And so, you know, that was a person I had to shed. And those stories are the stories that when I tell truly help me connect with others that are in similar situations. So if you do have stories of your past, you know, I think any opportunity you have to tell them, whether it's for building your brand on social media or just, you know, talking about your past experiences to your team, I think it's very powerful because people don't actually think you get it until they hear a story. They're like, okay, yeah, he probably gets it, right? Fast forward sophomore year in college, I had the courage to ask a girl out who I had been friends with throughout high school. And, you know, she, in my eyes, was like, oh, wow, if I could date her, my life would be complete. And I asked her on a date. She was a little reluctant, but she gave me a shot because I was her friend. The whole time, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, you know, if I took a picture with her, it was like the hover hand, right? Like I was afraid to touch her and be masculine, be within my own beauty, right? And I went to study abroad, and we hardly ever talked after that. When I studied abroad, I look back on that summer, I'm like, all these chances, she was giving me these opportunities, I fucked up. And I chose to reinvent myself that day. When I went abroad, I stuck with one simple strategy. It was to add everyone on Facebook and Instagram when I met them. Afterwards, introduce them to someone else. Took a lot of strategies that Thomas shared. And within 2 weeks, everyone was like, Brandon, you know everyone. You're so popular. You're like the connector. Like my flatmate was like, you're the fucking social machine. I'm like, okay, yeah, I am. You know, he's like, you're Super Mario. You fucking just get mushrooms and you jump so high. I'm like, all right, sounds good. That's me now. And so I was able to reinvent myself. I did starting strength. I put on a lot of muscle in the next year, literally like 40 pounds of weight, you know, by just hitting all the major lifts. I went to the bars every day to socialize, not to just get drunk. There was one whole month I went out every single day just so I can challenge myself to talk to strangers. And that helped me build so much social skills. So if you guys feel like you lack social skills, hopefully that's a good strategy. There were some nights, didn't like talk to one weird dude at the corner. Other nights, I kid you not, and it's not something I'm proud of now, but like at the time I was like, you're a god now. I made out with 7 girls in one night, you know. It was weird, right? Like just, I was a crazy kid. And then I did a lot of drugs and I went to a lot of concerts. The years after, I wanted to get that out of my system. I was a club photographer. I learned how to like trade my services for entry to the green room, met some of the biggest artists like Corella and Big Gigantic and all these cool names that you might not know, but like at the time I was like, oh, if I meet these guys, I'm the coolest person. And I played it chill then, you know, I wasn't like fangirling super hard, so that was helpful to kind of hold my ground there. But after graduating, I couldn't find a job. I got a few last round interviews and they were like, hey, what do you want to do in 3 years? I'm like, I want to start my own business. And they're like, fuck no, we're not hiring this kid. And now looking back, I'm like, okay, obviously they're not gonna hire me. I want to skedaddle in 3 years. And so my mom at the time, you know, was like supporting me. She's super loving, and she gave me like an allowance. I actually got on food stamps because I was ashamed of asking her for money, because like she literally, her and my dad put me through college for the most part. And it was kind of a bummer to hear her keep saying, get a real job, when I had started my first business. Someone who was supposed to believe in me the most believed in me the least in the moment of need. And so I was my own best friend. I found a business partner, John Zhao, who was my friend at the time. I used to sell him weed. And he came every day. He was my alarm clock. He was like, it's time to get to work. I'm like, oh, I'm still sleeping in. So, you know, sometimes you just need to like recruit an ally to be someone who keeps pushing you forward. And within a year, the business was a reality. Like I was doing close to 10K a month, fixing iPhones and computers. I learned how to fix everything on YouTube. I actually asked a few people that were doing the hustle themselves, like how to fix a phone, and I learned how to do that. And then fast forward a year after, we started a store. I found a business partner. And a year after that, we had 12 technicians fixing 20 iPhones on a busy day. And I hit my first almost $1 million year with that company. Afterwards, I got bored, like any entrepreneur usually does. I was like, I can't be fixing phones my whole life. Like, this is so boring. Like, I can fix every phone, but, you know, it's boring, you know? And I chose to start off on my second venture called Market U. And I found this other guy doing social media management. Like, he went through Tai Lopez's program. He was this young, hungry entrepreneur. And I'm like, oh, if I can get this guy to work for me, you know, I can be the brains, he can be like, you know, the muscle, and we're gonna take this to the moon. And I would say that's a big mistake, to feel like someone else is gonna do the work. I think that's just a mistake that I've learned over and over. If you wanna be a very successful entrepreneur, you need to own that shit, you know? Especially if you're the one with the most equity. I see a lot of people make their first key hires, they're like, oh, okay, I can chill, it's a lifestyle business. And then the business goes nowhere. And so, fast forward a year, I pretty much bankrolled his whole education. He laughed at God, and then he moved in with his mom and went to church every day after a year. So it's just interesting to see that shift. And I had, you know, invested so much time and energy into him. And meanwhile, during that time, this girl I was seeing also broke up with me. So I was like kind of down in the gutters for a second. And I was like, this sucks. And then someone I was helping for free at the time, one of my other friends, I used to throw parties with him. I didn't mention I used to throw a bunch of parties like Elon, my idol, did. I used to have like 500 people come through, pay $5, $10 cover. There was one night we made like $2,500 and had like 10 kegs, 10 DJs, so much burnettes. Even had a run-in with the police saying, we heard you're throwing a party. I'm like, no, I'm not. I had like 40 handles of burnettes behind me in the front door. When I opened the door, they were undercover. Another story for another time. But I have a lot of stories. Anyways, I'm trying to keep it a little bit brief for this one. Next time, maybe I can get 30 minutes. With that being said, the guy who I was throwing parties with at the time, my DJ, he moved out to California. He lost his job, and I was like, bro, now is the time for you to start the business we were talking about when we got drunk that one night, came up with the name Aerial Canvas. It's time. And he's just like, yeah, I think so. My roommate, landlord, is her dad's a top agent at Sotheby's. So he got in with Sotheby's. I gave him free consulting, helped him build a website, all that jazz. And within a year, he was at like 15K a month, and he's like swimming in it. He's doing everything himself, customer service, video editing, on-site shoots. And he's like, Brendan, I need your help. I need you to do what you did for Fix-It, the iPhone computer repair business, to my business. And I'm like, California? Sounds good. I'm coming tomorrow. I'm flying in. So I flew in, and I fell in love with the weather, the vibe, the big town vibes, because I was a fairly big fish in a small pond. Everyone knew me. They're like, oh, Mr. Fix-It. You know, at the bars, they're like, yeah, Mr. Fix-It. I'm like, cool. But I had to reinvent myself once again. So I went out and I helped him scale that business from 20K a month. We did $1.7 million our first year in business, first full year, then 5 million the year after, and then we hit 7 million. Awesome stuff. Worked 80 hours a day, did not have a social life, did not go on dates. And so, you know, I'm someone who like has an addictive personality. I swing to both sides of the pendulum. You know, 2 years I worked my ass off, and then once we hit the 7 million, I moved out to San Diego, started the expansion effort. But people were like, Brendan, you're just partying every day. We see your stories. And I'm like, oh shit, internal PR, my bad. You know, so I had to do a lot to fix that. I put a director in place. I was gonna leave the business to him. And then he betrayed me, unfortunately. He like rallied all the managers against me. Like I was doing something wrong. I had a 2-hour meeting where it was supposed to be a SWOT analysis, but they just told me what they didn't like about me for 2 hours and then didn't even want to give me a chance to respond. Unfortunately, I fired him the next day, even though he was about to get equity and he was the highest paid employee with profit share. So, you know, sometimes you gotta really watch your back. I was trying to mediate our relationship before that, just so you guys know I'm not a complete asshole. I hired a business counselor because he also told me, oh, Brendan, you don't even work anymore. I'm like, bet. But I did a lot for my company. I put everyone's needs ahead of mine on the financial side. There was many seasons where I went into debt to get to the next stage and pay for everyone's Christmas bonuses and pay for everyone's salary when, you know, times were slow. So I had to go through all that bullshit. But anyways, fast forward, I got into consulting because I like working with business owners more than I like working with employees. Not to say I don't have some amazing employees that crush it, kill it, that still do amazing job, that, you know, some of my directors get paid 6 figures. Some of my, you know, core team members in the Philippines get a good, you know, hourly wage that's very competitive. But now my focus is helping other business owners grow, specifically in real estate media, specifically to accomplish something similar that I did with mine. And in the last couple years, I also spun off an ecosystem of solutions. Whenever I bring in someone for consulting, I usually get them on my other services and solutions, whether it's virtual staffing, video editing, software, and all those businesses are killing it, crushing it, 50K a month, 100K a month. So it's cool to see what I've built, and I can tell you, I definitely could not have built it without assembling the Avengers. You know, in certain situations, I like to wake up and walk on stage feeling like I'm Tony Stark. Other situations, I like to be behind the scenes like the Nick Fury. So I think in every situation that you might be in, you need to figure out like, what hero do you want to play? Because you can't be like the main character every day. In your own story, yes, but like when you're trying to partner with people, sometimes you're like a supporting cast member or hero or whatever you call it. So hopefully you guys like my story. If you have any questions about how I grew, happy to open up to Q&A.